JT158 CRs, and these are a hybrid plier. They have a cutter, 14, 12, 10, and 16, 14, 12 stranded. They have a crimper, screw shears, and a lot of people might say these are perfect in every way. A lot of people like to say these are better than the Knipex. I'll bring those on right now. The Knipex are... Shows you how much I like the Knipex, guys. I actually don't even see them. Oh, do you guys see them? Where are the Knipex pliers? Here they are. I found them. Went on a job site today and I did some inspections for some guys. His helper had the Knipex. The master electrician had these. These are the 8-inch JT158 CRs. He asked what I thought about them. I said, well, have you tried these? These are the JT158-59 CRTP. JT159 CRTP. Right there. If the camera would ever focus. What's so special about these? When somebody says, oh, you got to try out the new pliers because they're 9s instead of 8s, so they're an extra inch longer, you would expect them to just make the handles longer or just make the nose longer. Maybe keep the handles the same length, but make the handle a little bit longer. They basically redesigned these from scratch to where proportionately all the way around this whole plier, everything is just larger in every way. So they didn't just lengthen the handles. They didn't cop out on making just the nose longer. They even added a fish tape puller. These are the ones to get. And I'm going to show you where you can inspect cross-hatched as they should be. Same sizes there. A little bit more cut capacity. If you are still rocking the 8s and you're in the field and you are in commercial or whatever you're doing, you only haven't heard about the 9s because the supply houses don't carry them yet. Lowe's just now started carrying, I think, these. If I'm not mistaken. Home Depot stopped, Lowe's started. Man, the stores need to carry this because these are fantastic in every way. They are just proportionately larger across the board. They didn't just cop out on length. So I got some Romex here. I used to have some Romex here. I'm going to get some Romex and then I'll show you what you can expect. We did a stripper comparison the other day, and somebody said, where were the Knipex in the fight? Why weren't they featured? For the most part, we showed usable tools when it came to actually tightening screws around receptacles, stripping, more of a stamped set. I'm old school, so I would say that a stamped set is the way to go. A lot of you newer guys might opt for something forged, and that's fine. I agree with you. The forged is fantastic. These cut amazing, and I'm going to show you that right now. But for me, man, the stamped sets, they work so good. I'll just go buy another one when they go dull because they last for years. Anyone saying I've had my Knipex for 5+ years and they're still going strong? That's not hard to do with a stamp set, as long as you only cut copper. And these say cut copper only. Anyway, solid, stranded. Stranded goes up to number 12. does not go up to number 10. So the argument would be that these strip number 10 stranded like butter. And I would agree, but they were never designed to. So keep that in mind. I feel like the nose is too wide to be useful for what they are, strippers. The nose is too thin to actually make up a connection. I've cross-hatched this and made a little groove for my wire to sit in. It works pretty good, but they don't come like that. So we'll show you. That might drive me crazy, but it is what it is. Let's get a strip on this. I gotta back the camera up so I'm not bumping it constantly. If not, we're all gonna be not having a fun time. Why don't I like the Fluke Network Pro 3000? The Fluke Network Pro 3000 is a fantastic tool, but it lacks two things. It lacks a light to show you what's going on while you're tracking. If I'm right, I think that's the dark blue one. It's kind of like a faded blue. The Fluke is. The toner generator is fantastic. If you can have the best of both worlds and you have a Fluke generator and you use the Klein toner, that's a good combo. What did you use? I actually used a grinder. We did it live. I don't recommend using a grinder. Be like a normal person, use a Dremel. But anyway, enough about that. Let's get the let's show you. These things can actually make up connections. And I think I'm gonna do 3 because that's pretty standard. Three number 12 is pretty standard. Don't pay attention to the color. We're just doing the size right now. There's 3 number 12s. We'll just cut them all flush. And that should be number 12 right there. And this is about as much as I would strip. So you see how easy this is to strip? Just like butter, right? The Crocs are also like butter. So if you didn't know, we can actually put some corkscrews in this. Because normally stamp sets can't do that, right? That's pretty corkscrewed up. And we can, as long as we get in the right size, we can strip that with ease. But anyway, let's get with the Knipex here. We'll just do, I gotta stop trying to look through the camera is what I need to do. I need this one higher. We're gonna put it right there, right on top. And you're gonna see where my Knipex actually have a spot for the wire to sit. Where your Knipex probably slide all the way around. So, I actually went to Klein Tools. And I was doing the tour with the guys because I help Klein make tools. Give them feedback and all that good stuff. They send me unreleased stuff all the time, and I let them know what I'm thinking about it. And I don't have to make a video about it. They just get some feedback, and they don't pay me. I do it for free, by the way. I take tools for payment, I guess is what you could say. And we're doing the tour, and one of the main guys is like, "Hey, aren't you the guy that put a grinder on his Knipex and made them better?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." But I wasn't sure if he was making fun of me or if he thought it was a smart idea. But I can tell you right now, man, this is, as sketchy as this looks, it makes a pretty nice connection for a pair of Knipex. If you aren't running Milwaukee, you're on a real contractor. I don't know about all that, man. I've tried everything. I'd like to give Milwaukee some credit. Here, let's do this. Let's do these strippers, because those strippers are pretty nice. I don't mind giving credit where it's due. They cut nice. They're cheap. They're 20 bucks. They strip very good. The Milwaukee strip, really, really good, if you guys don't know. And I'm not a huge fan of Milwaukee hand tools, but damn, I'll give it credit where it's due, man. Milwaukee strip really nicely, even on the curves. We're going to use the Kleins to make this one up. We're going to use the 8-inch. I don't want to use 8-inch. We're going to use the 9-inch. And then I'm going to check the chat. We just want to get this right here even. I'm going to lay this one right on top, right in there. So when we pull, everything gets nice and tight. Hopefully that turns where I want it to go. Pull that up just a little bit right there. There you go. Not ideal. The black's a little bit low, but honestly it's okay. We're just looking at the twist. It's not going to go good. I can already tell you it's not going to go good. Let's back up. We should probably just straighten these out. Yeah, let's straighten them back out. Put this one right there. There we go. You can see the leverage is almost like an extension of your hand. Really not sliding around. You can get a lot of torque on that without really over tightening the wire. It's a little bit twisted there, but you can see the tightness of the connection there. That's never going anywhere ever. That's just 3. But the Knipbacks, if you notch them and you do all the craziness like I did, they're not bad. So what you're seeing there is not grabbing fully. It's just, it spins the insulation. See how we're twisting the insulation there? If we use a pair of crosshatched, it doesn't do that. Here's a pair right here. You get more leverage on this, and you can actually squeeze the wire to where now we're spinning the wire, not really the insulation so much. And you can see that we've smashed the wire down. These just don't have the ability to grab because they're not crosshatched. So I do like these pliers, but the problem is that whatever direction that you're pulling, they just slide right off, especially the wire stripped. Yeah. They just kind of slide. Now, if you pull this way, they're not going to slide because it's opposed, right? See the difference there? These aren't going to slide near as much because I've crosshatched them. And then when you go to here, they're fully crosshatched, so they don't slide at all, any direction, even pulling this way. And you can see I'm not holding that tight. See, I'm able to wiggle it out. So yeah, the Milwaukee's good, but they're not crosshatched. If these are crosshatched, these might be the best needle nose strippers combo for $20 on the market. Stranded wire has typically a better insulation rating, which allows it to be used on the 75° C column. This Romex here is a TW insulation, and typically it's a 60° Celsius, and you lose out on opacity. But you can get solid wire that's THHN or THWN as well. But most commonly in a house, it's Romex and it's solid. And it is, you can just see where these are just an extension of your hand, man. You just release there, grab, release, grab, and so on. These are great. Great leverage here. Great flippability to get whatever side you need. They're all around, man. They feel really, really good. These are a fantastic set of pliers. These are the JT159C RTP. J2159C RTP with the fish tape puller. The benefit of stranded would be more flexible for longer pulls, for sure. But for solid, anything less than 100 feet, you can actually push. You can feed it easier time feeding. So it just depends on what you want to do. If you're by yourself and you need to push some wire, and you've got like 50 feet of straight pipe in a hallway, you'll be happier with solid. If you're running a crew and you got someone pulling and someone feeding on one side, or depending on where your pull point is and you're feeding from the floor and you're having to pull like 30 feet and then have like 5 feet loose as you're feeding it into the box, stranded's better. So it just depends on the job. But the easiest way to answer that would be that typically you're going to see solid in a house and the installation is not going to be rated for near as much as the other stuff in like a commercial building or something. But yeah, once you crosshatch these, they're not bad. I got one gripe about these though, because it just sits right there in that little groove that I made. See that little groove that I made? Right there. It just sits right there. And they want to sit in there. Looks like we got a lot of light. Either got a lot of light or I got a lot of glare on my screen. But I do have a lot of light in here. So it's heat related. Yeah, usually, but it's also it just depends on what you're trying to do. It's not always about heat. It could be because you can get stranded and solid wire with the same rating, basically. That's a lot of tools. Yeah, it's not even half of them. Heard you make marks in the copper from the teeth and the pliers is bad, and that it should be smooth. Is that true? My gripe, okay, this is my gripe with Milwaukee's thing. Somebody said that I was kind of hypocritical because you're making bites in the teeth. And of course you are. Of course you are, because you're making a connection. Now, if you notice, I always cut off the top. So you see, that's like almost not bitten at all. And that's a good looking connection. I don't mind telling you. That is a very nice connection. A wire nut would be honored to sit on this thing's face. The thing is, I always cut the top off, but my comment about the auto wire strippers was not that it made marks on the wire as something bad. When I look at it as from an inspector's perspective, because I'm an inspector, so you got to look at what is the product designed for, how does it actually work. Hang on. Let's see here. This is the number. No, we need the number 12. That's 8. First off, these are solid only, so they're only for a house. So you're literally going to have somebody running around a house or a job, making connections with a drill. You're just advocating for more drill stupidity, if you ask me. I'm not a huge fan of drills at all on wire, on terminals, on panels, whatever it is. Hang on, I gotta see what's going on here. There it is. Okay, so we get our guide here. Got our guide there, and then this thing slides up and down. So you can strip with this, right? This is my problem with this. It's that it's guaranteed to change the diameter of the wire. It's not that it does change the diameter of the wire. It's that it's a tool that's doing it. So at a certain point, This has to remain accountable for potentially changing the diameter of wire. You know, you're changing the wire is all I can tell you. That's gonna be, that's more strip or less strip? Let me see. That seemed like it was the same amount. That's gotta be more. Let's see. Yeah, this should be. I don't use this tool, guys. Oh yeah, that's way more. Holy hell. Okay, so we got some nicks there. What do the nicks mean? Maybe nothing, but you know, also something, because it's not just at the top. You can't cut it off. So when I make a connection, if I make a connection, I can cut my stuff off. Try not to cuss. We'll just go ahead and make this real quick. So yeah, we're definitely biting into the wire. I don't think we've lost any copper yet, but we're definitely biting into the wire. There's no doubt about it, right? And then once you're finished twisting up here, whatever you're going to do, I always cut it flush because I want my wire nut to grab the wire nut evenly. So you do have some scratches in there, but everything down here remains untouched. And then when you look at the Milwaukee strip, it's like nick, like my fingernail catches. Stop that. Is where your fingernail catches there. Look at all that. I'm just not a fan of it. It's a personal preference. We can take one of these scores right here, and we can probably bend right here, like that. Okay, that's one. Straighten it back out. That's two. That's three. 4. It's 5. It's pretty resilient. 6. 7. No, it's looking like it's pretty good. I don't think it scored it deep. If not, it would have snapped. Because it doesn't take much to score copper. So if you don't know, if you accidentally hit your 14 size instead of your 12, so let's say we went like this and we said, oh, we cut too deep. Let's not do that. Let's switch quickly to our number 12. We didn't hit hard. And we'll just go back here and we'll just strip it off. And we got that little dent in there. That little dent right there. Watch this. Maybe 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. The littlest nick will do something. So I don't know, man. I just don't like nicks in my copper, but I really don't advocating for drills at all. That's going to be the end of quality as we know it in the trade. Yes, but if you take the wire and touch it to the ground, the tone changes, which means it's the correct wire. I do like that feature. Is that guy still here? I'm trying to get through all the let's see here. A brushless Milwaukee, yeah. Yeah, so that's why it breaks. If you score it slightly, it'll snap right off. You got to make sure that you're, scoring with the right size every time. There is a fly in here. I know you guys can hear him. We might be wide. I don't know, wide butt. So do small nicks like that equals more voltage drop. It's not voltage drop as much as a compromised connection, because you got to look at this as, you got to look at it as energy flowing through this at all times. And it's going to find the weakest link. That's just what it does. So typically if you have a bunch of backstab receptacles and you fix the one that broke loose, it's just going to start working on the next weakest point, and then it's going to break that receptacle. What is the danger of using dikes? Just doesn't have a stripper. So, I mean, you can use diagonals. You just got to know what you're doing. You can still use diagonals. You just got to 12, yeah. We actually nicked it a little bit slightly. It looked good until we stripped it. That's the danger using dikes. You can cut too deep, and then watch. You cut too deep and that becomes a weak point. Let's see. That's one. Let me grab. I don't think we cut that deep. One. Yeah, it's almost always going to break on the score. Because we can take this right here and we can just go like this. You see how many times we can do that? And fast. So you'll break the copper eventually, but if we do that like that, and then we start going, it's going to break a lot quicker than if we don't. How many do you think we can go? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 there. Full back and forth. And then you nick that there. That's one. There you go. That's one right there. Let's do it again. Just lightly. That's one. That's two. Versus if you nick it. If you don't. 1, 2, 3, 4. It doesn't really hold any scientific value other than you can definitely see that it's a weak point compared to the others. Does it mean it's got voltage drop? No. I don't think it does. But if you've got that nick in your wire while you're twisting wire, you could potentially be doing stress cracks as you're twisting and not even know it. What's up, Russ? What's going on, man? How you been? I did an inspection for a guy today. I hadn't seen him in about 1.5 years. And he had the 8s. And he was like, oh, dude, you got to get the 8s, man. You got to get the 8s. They're so great. And I was like, yeah, man, I had them on the channel like 4 years ago. They're pretty cool. But have you seen the 9s? And he was like, no, I haven't seen the 9s. So this video is kind of for him because I think he subscribed today. But these are just proportionately larger and better in every way, man. The 9s are amazing. Yeah, the Knipex are right here. The Knipex are right here. They're fine. You gotta modify them. You gotta modify your Knipex for them to be amazing. So once you put this groove here, and you get at least one diagonal line across to where the wire can't slide out, because regular Knipex, if we go where there is no cross hatching, we should be able to slide off of this pretty easy. You can see where it slides pretty freely. See that there? And you can see I'm squeezing pretty good because we're kind of like etching it, right? But if you go down here to where my crosshatch is, it's way harder to slide. And then if you get a pair of crosshatch, man, you can't slide at all. So if the Knipex had crosshatches, The other thing that I was pointing out to the apprentice there, tried to twist 3 together. We just did. That's what we did here, I think. But yeah, let me get 3 going. Might need more Romex, guys. This thing is noisy. You can tell they get used. They need some 3-in-1 oil. Okay, the other thing that I like about other strippers is that they just lack leverage to pull out Romex. Like, you see that? You really gotta get on there. And the reason why they lack leverage is because they close. They would normally close 100% if they weren't modified, right? But Klein's never close. So once you grab the wire, you can still fully close these even more. Where if your pliers are already open, it's harder to get leverage on something like that. So you get more leverage with pliers that you can put your fingernail in between. It only makes sense. But yeah, we can take these needle nose here. They what's the word? Transfer a lot of power to the nose of these. To where I can probably pull this until I break the paper will stay. See that? Okay, 3 number 12s with the... Why do you hate the electrical tape around the receptacle? I'm having a lot of the old timer trained me coming up. Always did that to Brent. I don't mind tape. I don't mind tape on a receptacle. Yeah, I'm an electrician. I'm actually an electrical inspector now, but I was an electrician since 2007. But I've been in the trade since 2006. Went to school for HVAC for about a year. Had basic electricity books, advanced electricity books, control theory. And I was trying to get all my electrical classes out of the way. And then a electrician came to the house because we had a loose outlet with aluminum, and it was sparking whenever the vacuum cleaner was on, and sometimes the breaker would trip. And he basically hired me on the spot and then said, don't hire me to do this. Like, tell your mom, just you know, you'll fix it at some point. I'm going to teach you how to fix it. And the rest is history. Okay, so got Klein's there, and I'm doing this through the camera, by the way. The camera is right here. I have no choice. So the accuracy is surprising, actually. It's a little bit delayed too. Now, the only problem with showing this online is that this tends to spin, and that doesn't happen in a box. So we're just going to hold this with another pair of pliers. Or we're going to do something, because I need my finger up there. Hang on. It's just going to spin. There you go. Not ideal. Not the best one, man. We did a bunch of others before we had loose wire. The trick is to leave it all in the sheathing before you cut it, because wire's just going to spin on the backside while you're spinning it up here. So it's kind of hard to show you once we're out of the sheathing and the wire's free to spin on the backside. You have the 8s and you like them? Forcing effects are nice. Those Kleins will score the ends of the twister bars if you don't modify them. Yeah, but typically, so I'm twisting up here, and then I cut it flush. I always cut my wires flush. I know the instructions don't say you have to, but the instructions also say you don't have to pre-twist, but I've never not pre-twisted. The only time that I've ever regretted opening someone else's box, right? You literally have an extension ring staring at you on a 411 cover. Hang on, I got to get this fly. I don't know if I got him. And they've got the red Buchanan wire nuts that are basically just falling off as you're trying to diagnose a connection. And the wires are popping apart like as you're just moving things around the box. I was always taught to pre-twist, but you don't have to pre-twist. Yo, what's up, Frank? What's going on, man? From LA. Awesome. You would love to learn the serious ways of electrical. Just had to hire one to rewire the house and basement I remodeled. Not a plumber. Any specs on electrical ground boxes? I don't know what an electrical ground box is. Electrical ground boxes. To bond electrical boxes? Any specs on electrical ground boxes? Or are you talking about a ground well for like a ground rod? What's an electrical ground box? The code for grounding and bonding. Should be the top left of the page here somewhere. Non-union electrical ground concrete boxes. Yeah. So your electrical ground concrete box be like a ground well box, basically. Any specs on it? Make sure that it's rated for traffic. Someone said, "Oh no." What's up, BCG? What's going on, man? I appreciate that. Your dad always pre-twisted, yeah. Some areas of U.S. teach apprentices to pre-twist. Robert and I agree and disagree. Agree to disagree. Yeah, I've never not pre-twisted. That's all I can say. Ever. And I've never had to redo one of my connections. I've gone behind too many things that it really just depends on what wire nut you use too, man. Russ and I were talking about it. They make some really good wire nuts that you don't have to pre-twist, and they work really good. They get messed up. The house is so old, the Romex had paper in it. All Romex has paper in it. So, your Romex should have paper in it. This is brand new Romex. This has paper. If you don't pre-twist and using tiny wire, it just breaks. That might be true. Do you know how to jump a electrical main service box? Bonding jumpers? Yeah. We go to 250.102C. You'll need to know the size of your conductors there, but basically you get your SBJ, your MBJ, all that stuff here. Depending on what service size you are, this is going to be your jumper for that. And then if you're trying to get your cold water or you're building steel, it's basically the same chart. The difference with this chart here is that we can do a 12.5% rule on like cable tray. So let's say we had several 500s on a cable tray, over 1100 kc mil, right? So let's say we have two 600s on a cable tray. That's 1200 kc mil. So we can do 12.5% of 1200 kc mil, and that'll give us our jumper. So if we're going cable tray and then we have a hole in the wall, and then we start a cable tray again, you would need to make that cable tray bonded continuously. And that's where you would take that jumper. So you would do 12.5 times 1200, or 12.5% of 1200, and that would be your jumper. Ideal makes a great series wire nuts to do the twisting for you. I'm starting to agree with Russ about not having to pre-twist, but also it's all I know. Hang on, because I've got a stupid wire nut twister here that goes on a drill. Let's see if I can find it. I just cleaned out my car because it has a couple of recalls. So, oh, what's going on, man? I can show you what I carry every day for reels, except for the unreleased Klein tools in here that I can't show. Let me get it out, if it's even in here. I don't think it's in here. Oh, that'd be such a bad dump. That would be a bad pocket dump, man. We'll just do the EDC Electrician pocket dump. I think everything is on the bar right now of what I usually have. And then I got some stuff in my pocket. So of course we have that. We got the radar detector, of course, the R8 with the arrows. We got 2 plug testers. I hate this one. It's a bane of my existence, but you know what? It's fine. Batteries are always corroding in this. We've got a Olight. That's a Warrior. It's almost not bright enough for what I do. This thing is fantastic, dude. I actually love this thing. It's almost too bright to even show you on camera what this thing can do. This is pretty cool. In lockout mode, it still has a green light, so you know that it's in lockout mode. So you can switch it to a different mode, and then it's got the magnet. The magnet on it's pretty damn strong. We got the radar detector USB. I have a lot of USBs because I have a lot of iPads and stuff, of course. Here's the nut. This is what we were looking for this whole time. Worst inspection I've ever seen. Dare I show you? Well, I got a picture of something. The worst one I've seen lately was some 480 breakers that were burning up in the panel in front of me, because I always check for lugs to see how the electrician installed the lugs, if they're flat or not. I'll show you the trick to that here in a second. But basically, let me see if I can find a breaker here. I usually have a breaker handy. It's freezing. Damn, we had it out the other day. I don't know where it went now. All right, so your breaker, when you have a breaker with a bolt on, it's like in the shape of an L, and my thumbs don't work, so my tendon's broken. It's in the shape of an L, and when you take the proper screwdriver, you can get right up against the breaker to tighten the screw properly. But when you take a 10-in-1, you start off away from the breaker, and then you start trying to angle your screwdriver to make the screw flat. And if you're not paying attention, you'll cross thread that screw in a heartbeat. And yeah, I was pointing out the screw that was potentially bad, and he was kind of challenging me, so I had him shake the breaker just a little bit, and it started arcing and popping, and I was like, yeah, man, screws don't go gray like that, you know, like I could just tell. But I did infrared for years, so that, I mean, that's what we would do. We would fix cross-threaded screws and stuff after we identified them. So that's like in my wheelhouse of things that I'd seen throughout my career. So I knew the screw was loose as soon as I walked up to the panel. You don't like drill attachments for twisters? Myself, it's easier to do on accident. I also agree with you 100% of those spinning stripper attachments, easy to damage the wire. I think so too. Why do your lights flicker after installing a dim switch? The dimmer switch is not rated for the light bulbs that you installed. Or you know, possibly a bad dimmer, but typically it's going to be it's not rated for the light bulbs. So if you got CFLs, or you don't have the dimmable light bulbs, or the bulb's not like completely compatible with what you installed, it's going to flicker on you. Man, I have a whole box of wire nuts, and I can't even find one right now. That's crazy. I got one here. Got a whole box of 3Ms, usually. We'll try this one. I want to try this one. Oh God, it fits. Let's see this thing in action. I'm a big believer in, if you have one of these, you should, you know, chuck it down. Shouldn't be allowed to use impacts on stuff. There's no way. There's no way. All right. I don't know, man. I still don't like it. Look how wide that damn spring is in there. That's crazy. Yeah, you can tighten it. Like, that's how small those things usually are. You can't see in there. So small. Then you got this guy over here just blasting it on. See, this is about where I would stop. Let's see how wide we made the spring. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know, man. I see a lot of people using these with impacts. It's crazy. Where to portray the lights with those soldering joints that gets hot when the lights are on? Like hot to the touch. Is there a temperature range I should be in? Hard to say with an infrared camera. Frank, man, I appreciate the super chat, dude. Happy New Year's to you and your family, sir. Thank you. Pros and cons of non-union. Let's see here. What's up, Lieutenant Colombo? What kind of work did you used to do? Electrical. I did industrial I worked at Nestle Waters, Niagara Waters, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, and a place called White Wave for about 4.5 years. White Wave, we're going through bundles of plaster bond, like just, I don't know, 6 or 7 bundles, master bundles, 2,500 feet of rigid, that's PVC coated. It's called plaster bond. Some people might call it Rob Roy. But before that, mostly commercial. So I did commercial forever. And then in that same company, with the commercial, I did 2 years of infrared. I actually made something on my other phone. It's actually on Canva. Let me go get it for you. Let's see here. Hang on, I gotta close this door. It's a technique to shut my door. But it's extra quiet in here, so it's worth it. Let's get Canva open. Okay. Shiny, shiny, dull. See the dull screw right there? See how it's dull gray? Why did I do that? Then you come over here. Dull, shiny, shiny. You can see the brown where it's burnt up. That was nice and shiny. That's what a new breaker looks like. This is the brand new breaker that they pulled out. And then this was actually during the inspection. This was now I want you to look right here, and especially here, you've got this crescent moon shape. See that crescent moon shape right there? That's because of an impact. Because when the guy was installing the breaker onto the bus, he was just spinning his impact until it caught, because you're not going to get that crescent moon shape. You're not going to get that crescent moon shape without the fastener doing a couple of skips. And then you can see where the whole plastic behind the whole thing just melted down. So that was pretty bad recently, but that's not the worst thing I've seen. What I think of the Crocs. Crocs are amazing. This is probably the best stamp set that money can buy. And they're worth it. And they're kind of perfect in every way. What I'd recommend you do is smash that down with your Knipex or something to make your lock extra stiff so it stays out of the way. It breaks back in to where it's not too stiff. But yeah, look, my Crocs stay locked. You see what I'm saying? Doesn't move. Most strippers won't do that. Because they're trying to reinvent the wheel. Kleins, you can also do that, but Kleins are pretty. Let's see here. The Klein stays shut too. Oh no, there you go. Popped right open. So if you're strippers keep popping open. You can just squeeze that tab right there. See if we can do it again. Yeah, there you go. Do I use a rear tool belt when working? If yeah, what kind? The last bit of my career was honestly a gator back. The gator backs are hard to beat. I don't have a gator back. I've got something that I think might be better, but I might be wrong about it. It's got a lot of pockets. But the more that I use it, the more I like the simplicity of a gator back. But the gator back has its pros and cons with a couple of things. The money that you're paying for the gator back, you're getting a really, really nice supportive belt that's wide and has that gator channel. The TRR. Yeah. What do I like about that tester with just battery problems? Yeah, this tester here has serious battery problems. For an inspector, it's not great. So if you're a tradesman and you're installing stuff, man, the tester's awesome. This tester's not bad at all. You got to change the batteries in it. They will corrode. So this one's new. I returned my last one. Don't use the batteries that come with the Kleins. They're golden usually. They got a little bit of blue on them and they're gold. Don't use the batteries that comes with them. What happens is once you test with this, you hit test and it does its thing. And then it flashes and it wants to flash how long it took, and it wants to tell you how many milliamps, and it wants to tell you how many milliseconds it took to trip, and it wants to tell you all this stuff, and you have to hit reset every time before you can plug into the next receptacle. If not, this thing constantly flashes. So for an electrical inspector, whenever I'm plugging in and plugging in and plugging in like rapidly, going from outlet to outlet to outlet to outlet, I have to stop and wait for this thing to stop flashing, hit the reset button. This thing is not an inspector's friend, but it's a very good tool for everything else. It's just not good for me. I've never said this thing is bad, but when you have this in your pocket all day, or you leave it in your vest, or you leave it in the car, or whatever it is, the humidity and everything is going to make these corrode quicker too. Those receptacles, the TR. So let me show you what a tamper-resistant receptacle looks like on the inside. It's pretty cool. I don't think I have a regular one. Okay, so this is a tamper-resistant receptacle here. And it's not hard to plug it into. The old generation was. But so long as you get this plugged in at the exact same time and a little wiggle, they pop right in. When you're trying to test with a multimeter and you want to check hot to ground, it gets a little bit interesting because you have to plug in at the same time here like this, and then you got to pull one out and then you got to plug into the ground. But the old style, if you did that, man, it would grab your tester lead and never let it go, because it would close up on you and you'd have to like jack your leads up to get it out. Like if you pulled this one out without the other one on the first gen, this lead was basically stuck in there for life, but they fixed it. Let's see what one looks like on the inside. These are both a little bit sturdier. Oh my God. We're gonna get it. It's metal there though, so I really don't want to cut my fingers, because that would that'd be a bad deal right there. Screw with the Milwaukee beater. Okay. Here's your shutters there. Actually, these shutters are different than what I thought I was going to show you. This is a different design. This is kind of cool. So let's see how they work. Little spring right there, made out of plastic itself. So when you push this, that's able to overcome that tension. See where it slides out of the way? That's what's in your TRs. I've opened up another one before, and it's a lot more pieces. This is one piece. This is really cool. Okay, there's the shutter. I was going to say, where's the damn shutter? Yeah, so there's the shutter there. So there's your shutter. It slides. And it, cut it backwards. You can see where it opens up to allow it to slide. There you go. Just like that. And then it bounces back. See that? Just a little ramp there that sits back on there. See where it pulls back? Yeah, they're kind of like trapdoor covers. But they used to be really aggressive, and see little springs on the backside? Pretty cool. Different manufacturers have different designs. This one's interesting. Where did the other half go? There it is there. All right, so here's your Wago lever connectors. Let's do one that's not going to launch. So that opens up, then it grabs, opens, grabs. Your wire sits. Why is that so stuck? Let's pull this one out. There we go. Your wire sits in between here and here. I think that's what that was. Let me look at that again. Yeah, that's where your wire sits. So it sits in between there and there. And it just grabs. And then these levers lock it down from moving. My problem with connections like this, yeah, I've been electrocuted so bad that I've seen myself get shocked. Outer body experience, and pretty crazy. I've been shocked pretty bad. I hate the alkaline batteries. After on a few tests, it's very easy to forget and check the batteries regularly. They leak and corrode. Exactly. That's why I switched to the lithiums, or I've been using Olights lately. They did send me these, so there's a good reason why I'm using them. They are pricey, but this thing actually charges AAAs and AA's. But this thing here is insane because it charges both batteries, stores all the batteries, and then just has them ready. Oh, that was bad. Just has them ready to go. And it also tests them too, so any bad batteries will come in this tray here. And then it charges my Olights right there, so I can drop an Olight that's in the bag. I can drop it right there. I don't have one on me right now. Less likely to leak. The Eaton TR ones are, yeah. Milwaukee's new hand tool's not a fan. Not a fan. Just not a fan. Not a fan, man, of Milwaukee's hand tools. They drop the bag too many times. They fumble it every time. Look, this is one of Milwaukee's newest releases, okay? Listen, it has a magnet built in it. Okay, listen. Beautiful, right? And look, We can put our own tips in this thing, which is amazing. So it's magnetic, right? You go to pick something up that's magnetic. Anything. It doesn't transfer the magnet. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. They copied off a Klein. They built this after the Klein. And then, even though there's a magnet sitting right here, they didn't transfer the magnetivity. That's crazy. I don't remember what those things are called, to be honest with you. I gotta plug my phone in. For some reason, it's trying to die. I thought it was charging the whole time, but it wasn't. Might have audio issues. Who knows? Yeah, I don't know what you call those tabs on the side that you got to break off. Right there is what you're talking about. That would be the equivalent. Or are they exposed on these? Yeah, I guess it is. That's what you break off. I don't know what you call it. But these aren't really made for commercial anyway, because these can't even fit on a industrial cover, because it's just too much. Like, you can't cut the rabbit ears off, or the Mickey Mouse ears, whatever you want to call them. You can't cut the Mickey Mouse ears off. They just don't fit on industrial covers. So these aren't professional as far as I'm concerned. And then also, there's another reason here. I wouldn't use these for commercial. Just call them tabs, yeah. Yeah, cut the tabs, man. That's what we tell the guys. Don't forget to cut the tabs. Not your standard 240. Turn that breaker on, you're gonna short it out. Put it on the same phase, you don't have to worry. Put them both on the same leg. Have two separate circuits, but on the same leg. That way you don't have a potential of more than whatever one leg is in that box. And then if you forget to cut the tabs, you just have a parallel circuit. Okay, I think that's all we got. I just wanted to show the difference of the 9s and the 8s. We didn't even use the 8s, which is pretty funny. It's hard to see like what the difference in leverage is on camera. But the 8s are great, man. Like, if you like the 8s, you will absolutely love the 9s. They're just a little bit, you can see where they're kind of like all over my hands. The handle's just a little bit too short for me. But, you know, smaller things have a compromise. Multi-tools have a compromise. I'll tell you right now, these don't have much of a compromise when it comes to everything that these things can do. I would say the compromise with these is definitely going to be the nose. It's wider. You really can't make up connections with it. It's got some weird, stupid combination hole here, which we're never going to use. And to cut things, it's not always as open as it could be for certain things. So sometimes you're extending it out, which I'm not a huge fan of. But they got this push-through design here where you don't have to thread screws in. The hole is already large enough. And you can just chop your screws, which is good if you do like a lot of backsplashes and stuff. Yeah, I've got a bunch of Milwaukee power tools, but I've also been getting rid of a bunch of Milwaukee power tools. Pretty much all my Milwaukee power tools right now are down and out. I've got the one-handed recip, which still is probably, one of the better recips that money can buy. My impact and my drill are both dead for Milwaukee. So right now I'm DeWalt. I'm on Team DeWalt right now until Milwaukee gives me a smaller battery. When Milwaukee gives me a smaller battery, I'll probably switch to Milwaukee overnight. But until Milwaukee, I always chase the battery tech. So Flex. This is a 24 volt battery from Flex. It's a 2.0. It's very tiny. And then you get the 3.0 from Milwaukee. This is 24 volt. This is 18 volt. Like, it's about time, man. Milwaukee needs to get us. Wait, that's a 2.0, actually. Damn. That's not even a 3.0. That's insane. You see the difference there with this technology? Dude, we could probably have a 3.0 Milwaukee battery this size. I thought this was a 3. The 3 is actually much larger. The tablet cell, which is newer than the stack lithium. Yeah, but it's not better. Just because it's newer doesn't mean it's better. DeWalt has it as well. The stack lithium is a better technology. The tablets has been around for a while. It's basically an 18650, except that instead of having this on the top of it for less surface area, it's completely flat. It's tabless. The battery top has no top, right? It's still an 18650. It's still a 21700, whatever it is. The makeup of this battery is tabless, is stack lithium, where they're flat cells. They just deliver a lot more power. They charge a lot faster, and they work really, really well, man. The stack lithium's where it's at. DeWalt's got a 1.7, which is basically the perfect size. And 12 line of Milwaukee, it's pretty good. I did infrared, so I have to have a hook. I like my hook down here for my tools. That way, while it's hanging, I can reach down here. I can switch out my bits. Well, a little bit, right? Switch out your bits. This is a better belt hook. It's a better center of gravity hang. It fits on any belt better. This is just a better hook. Now, the tools themselves are nowhere near as good as Milwaukee, but you don't need that much power as an electrician, and these are more ergonomic. It's hard to say. Where I go M12, I go with the subcompact because, man, it is so tiny, it's hard to deny how good this is. Even though it's really underpowered, this thing is so light. And for all day use, man, it's awesome. And then I've got a 2.5 high output. Companies are going away from stack lithium. They had to make them a lot larger for anything over a 5. So Milwaukee's 8 is actually tabless. Milwaukee's 6 is stack lithium. Milwaukee's 12 is tabless. Milwaukee's 6 is a true stack lithium. But it's huge. Like, I really want a smaller battery. All right. Yeah. That's it. Just wanted to show these. So that's the difference. The whole gist of the live for this one guy is that these are proportionally larger in every way. They make a better hammer. They're better leverage. They're easier in your hand. They're easier to cut. You got more cut capacity. You got a fish tape puller. You've got a better designed crimper. See the difference there? It's just better in every way. Still got the screw shears, still have the same amount of cut. You got more makeup room. They're both cross-hatched. Man, it's hard to beat these when it comes to every day. And then maybe sometime I'll show you my actual loadout for commercial electrician, like magnetic, hollow, nut driver, box wrench, beater reamer combo, things like that. That's the Resi troubleshoot bag. Every Tuesday and Thursday I do a live, but then if I've got to get some information out pretty quickly and I don't feel like editing, I'll just do a live randomly. I've got a pretty big community of people that also want to be content creators, so I'll look to see if anyone else is live, and if they're not, I'll go live. And it gives everyone a chance to communicate and talk with each other anyway. Sometimes I'll just play a video game so you guys can just chat. The USA Milwaukee stuff is okay. I want you to do me a favor. Next time you pick up a USA Milwaukee tool, I think it's right here. I think it's right there. There's a bump. There's a bump. Like they're not consulting electricians that know what they're doing when they're making their tools. I typed in Milwaukee USA Kleins. That's hilarious. What an asshole. You might be able to see it. Okay, you see it? See that bump right there? It's even on their picture. It's even on their picture. There's a hunk of steel. There's a hunk of steel on their handle. You can see it right there. There's a hunk of steel on their handle on that profile that sits right here, and then it tapers down for no reason. And that might not sound like a big deal, but if you do underground or something, and you've got just a bag of tools, you probably got one of these saws, which is not in here, damn. You've got one of the jab saws that takes a recip saw blade. You got one pair of channel locks. You got a 3-pound sledgehammer. You got a beating screwdriver. You got a string line. You got a plumb bob. You got gloves. And you've got probably your diagonals, and you probably got your Kleins in that same bag. And if you're doing strut and you're building racks and stuff for large pipe, you probably have a couple of wrenches. And then a bit set. And all that's in the same damn bag, right? And it's just getting beaten around. The wear and tear point, man, these tools, they got to be smooth. I can't have a hard edge behind my grip and take that tool company seriously. My honest opinion on how the tools perform, they perform fine. But it's just a huge put off, man. I couldn't do it. Hard to recommend you guys something that I know is a wear and tear point for the rest of your life on a tool that you should be able to hand down to your kids, assuming it doesn't get stolen or you blow it up. These tools are generational. Yes, I have used the fishtail pillows on my pliers before. They do help. It seems like a gimmick until you're in that situation. It just depends on what you're doing. So I'll use my fish tape pullers to actually push the fish tape, not pull it. So if you're over a box and you're trying to shove a fish tape in, and sometimes you just got to get the fish tape bouncing while you're giving it a twist at the same time or whatever you're doing, you can get that fish tape right in here, up through here, and you can just start slamming it down in there. And of course the tape's coming up here, so you want to watch out for your hands or whatever. But it really angles that thing. You can also pull with it. I've done a lot more pushing in my career. I've never really had any trouble pulling a fish tape, you know. You can pull with it, but fish tapes are very expensive, and I'd rather not, you know, crimp it in there and pull with all my might. I might give something a pretty good bounce, but to constantly grab an individual size spot of a fish tape, and then every 6 feet, like the fish tape's like whatever, because it is going to crush it a little bit. It crushes a little bit. Let's see here, I missed a comment. Awesome. I'm an electrical program currently and loving learning from experienced individuals. Yeah, awesome. Welcome. Monopoly is trying to Milwaukee is trying to monopolize the electrical market. You're absolutely right. Klein is privately owned business, still owned by the family, and tries to make their stuff in America. 100% they do. I was down there. Even the stuff that they're making in America that has global materials that they can't say made in America, there's an American in their factory doing all that stuff. They got a person that fits the pliers and feels them, you know, like I probably saw 300 people plus whenever I went down there the last time I was down there. Americans working that they can't put made in America on the tools, even though Americans are literally touching them before they get shipped out. You've got Americans working on them. I was originally in school for programming, but with AI, I feel like I'd be smarter to get into the trades. Yeah, I mean, seems like the pliers would tear it up. I tied cord to mine to pull. Yeah. I'm trying to think who made one. I had a fish tape puller that was yellow, and it was almost like the ideal. I can't think who made it. Maybe it was Klein that made it. It was pretty gimmicky. But this isn't gimmicky. These actually grab. I've got a pair of pliers that you guys have probably never seen before that was handed to me. Someone that works in Klein directly gave me these. These are the 129 on AUs, and they're Australia only. I can show them. I've had permission to show them. These are crazy. We've cut some really big wire with them. They're crosshatched. They're beautiful. I tried another pair because somebody told me to. I tried these. The Sonotas. Sonota. Yeah, Sonota. That hard line there's a no-go. They're too aggressive. Way too aggressive. They cut pretty good, though. Oh, yeah, dude. These pliers are crazy. These things are, like, insane. You can cut whatever you want with these. I was cutting number 3 copper with them. There's freaking nothing in there. I don't have anything in there. We got rid of all the wire. We'll just do this. We'll just make our own wire. How about that? That's at least a number 4. I don't care. Electricians could use the pivot to like a data warehouse. What about MCK? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. These, you know what? Your clients will actually cut 10-4 MC. If everyone thinks that you need this to cut 10-4 MC, you don't. Your clients will do it. Everyone's just, I don't know why they don't know that, but you can cut 10-4 MC with regular clients. Probably easier than you can diagonals. The trick, you know, all this stuff says cut copper only. So I would get you a pair of rabbit ears. Hang on. All right, here's 10-4 MC. I just cut it. It's 10-4 MC, okay? See if we can get it with one hand. I don't know if I can. Oh, I can't do it with one hand, guys. Gotta use two hands. And you can use Knipex to do this, but it's not as easy as people make it sound. You still got to use two hands. You can take these. These ones will do it too. Almost. See where the compromise is. And that's 10-4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 conductor. Not including the ground. That's number 10 solid. NMC, in steel. Oh, that's probably aluminum, actually. That's probably an aluminum jacket. Number 10. Oh, yeah. If you're in Australia, you can get your hands on these. These are Australia only. See the AU right there? These are basically the marbles. $21,700, yeah. All right, well, that's all I got. We will catch you guys tomorrow, probably. We're out of here. See you. Klein makes Marvel knockoffs. Maybe. I think Marvel made them and then they rebranded them. That's not a fold, I don't think. Yeah, no, that's not a fold. That's just a mark on the pliers. Yes, it's aluminum. Thinking it's for half a second because it was freaking 5 number 10s. But the point is, you don't need all these fancy pliers, man. This is the same pliers that the old guys are teaching you now. That are in their 70s. This is what they're rocking. This is all you need. This is all you ever needed. Tried and true, Klein. Yeah, nip it, cut it, crack it. Yeah, exactly. All right, we're out here. We'll see you.